Could I ever be okay with this? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about open relationships and all that comes along with them and my opinion on them. So if you want to hear about that, let's get right into this. First, let me give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. My community is constantly growing over there, and I'm actually going to do a photo shoot today for some new content to put up there. So if you guys want to get to know me a little bit better on a deeper level, definitely check out my Patreon for tons of exclusive content. Alright, so what led me to make this video? Well, a couple days ago, something in my mind sparked a memory that I had from 2019. I talk about all the time when I first turned 21, how crazy I was, how adventurous I was. I'm still kind of crazy and adventurous, it's just toned down a lot since then. In 2019, I was traveling a lot and I really just wanted to experience all that I could. So I was invited out to LA by some friends of mine that I knew from here, and these friends were and still are married. They're two men, and I just wanted to see what life was like in LA, and I got along really well with them. They would come here every so often for different events and, like Pride and like the camping events that we like to go to. So I knew them pretty well and I felt comfortable enough to drive the distance and stay with them for a couple of days. One of the husbands is very attractive, and we met actually because I was flirting with him at a party and I didn't know he was married. Come to find out, he is married, but he's in an open relationship. So I knew they thought that I was cute, and I knew that both of them kind of wanted to get with me. I do want to preface by saying I did hook up with one of the husbands, and the other husband knew this. He was totally okay with it. He actually wanted in on it, but he just wasn't there each time. So I went into this thinking, oh my gosh, I do want to go to LA and travel and see what it's like out there, but I don't want to just go and have to hook up with them, because you don't want to have to expect to hook up with somebody. It's just not a good feeling. Like, you want it to happen naturally, and I was just hoping that if I decided to go out to LA with them and hang out with them, that they weren't going to want to hook up with me every night. I had a feeling, but I just kind of pushed it to the back of my head because I was like, you know what, I'm going to take up this opportunity. Why not? I don't know anybody else that lives in LA, so they were offering to give me the whole travel experience. So I ended up agreeing to drive out to LA and visit them. The drive was amazing. I love road trips, by the way. That's one of my favorite hobbies to do, is just go on road trips, even when I'm alone. Like, it's such a grounding experience for me, and I always feel more relaxed. Sometimes it's nice to drive in silence and just look at the views and listen to the noise and maybe roll the window down and hear the wind. I like stuff like that. So I had no issue driving out to LA. I think it took 6 hours, but the drive was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I was freshly 21 with stars in my eyes. As soon as I got into LA and got to their house, I was excited. I didn't want to chill. I wanted to go out and do this and do that. So I ended up going to, I think it was Mission Beach, because they lived in El Segundo. They don't live there anymore, but that's where I was staying, was El Segundo. So if any of you guys out there live in LA, let me know what you think of El Segundo. I've heard a couple of mixed opinions on it, but I loved their house. It was beautiful. It looked like something out of a sitcom. It was like picture perfect. And they lived right down the street from the beach. So it was actually Manhattan Beach. It wasn't Mission Beach. That's San Diego, I believe. So they lived right up the street from Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach. Hermosa or Manhattan, it's one of the two. Somebody out there, please, you probably know what I'm talking about, but there's this super cute surf town, and I think it's Manhattan Beach. One of my favorite parts about going to LA was just the beachfront lifestyle and looking at the surfers and the beach babes and everything. I love that, and just hearing the ocean waves crash in the distance and the seagulls and the sunniness. It was beautiful out there. Everybody was so attractive, it seemed, and I do have to say there was a lot of trash everywhere, like litter galore, and it just made me kind of sad because, it takes away from the beauty sometimes. I could really just appreciate the natural beauty of Southern California. So at the time that I went, it was kind of cold. And for my East Coasters out there, swimming in the beach on the West Coast is a lot different than the East Coast. The East Coast is warmer, in my opinion. The water feels better, it's warmer, and the beaches are a little nicer. On the West Coast, it's still nice, but the water's colder. The sand just has more pebbles and, jagged shells and stuff like that, as opposed to like the Outer Banks. But I still had a great time. I didn't really go swimming, I just kind of stuck my feet in and sunbathed a little bit. We didn't end up going out or doing anything special on the first night. I think we just ordered pizza and hung out at their house. But we had a bunch planned for the next day. They actually ended up making a pass on me on the first night, asking me if I wanted to come up to their room and hook up with them. And I was like, I don't really want to hook up, but I'll hang out. Because they had a big TV up there and they were watching something on TV. So I just went up there and hung out with them, and you guys know how it goes. One arm goes like this, and then it's on the leg. And it just got more and more touchy until I was like, guys, I'm not really feeling this. And they're like, oh, okay, it's all good. And I could tell that they were irritated. But shortly after that, I ended up going back down to the guest room where I was staying and just falling asleep. So the next morning I woke up and I was very excited because I knew that we were going to be doing a bunch. We ended up going to a rooftop pool party at the W Hotel, and that was like my Hollywood experience. I was like, wow, I really made it, guys. I'm here. And it was just a really fun experience because you could see the hills and the Hollywood sign, and I was just it felt so surreal for me to be in this place that I had only seen on TV growing up. And I told myself when I was growing up that I was going to go there one day. Something about Hollywood, even to this day, has always attracted me, and I've always been very fascinated with what goes on in Hollywood behind closed doors and how people create their lives in Hollywood. I remember this scene from Shrek that I watched growing up where I think they were in the Kingdom and Funky Town, the song came on, and there was like all these cool looking people around, and it just has always stuck with me. Hollywood was very alluring to me, and it's what brought me out there, and I felt like, wow, I'm finally here. I had a great time at the pool party. I didn't get too crazy or anything, but we were there for probably like 3 hours, and then after that, we were going to Magic Mountain, Six Flags Magic Mountain. There was an event going on there called Out on the Mountain, and I didn't know what I was going to be expecting, but I was like, it's going to be fun one way or another, so let's do this. One of the husbands, the more feminine one, ended up wanting to dress me, so I let him dress me, and he gave me the tightest jeans I've ever worn before, and then a crop top, which is not me. It's just not me, but I was like, you know what, when in Rome, why not? So he dressed me up, and he did my hair, and he even drew my eyebrows on. I was just feeling good. Not feeling myself, might I add, but I felt good, and I felt like this is going to be a great night. And it was a great night. Six Flags Magic Mountain is in a beautiful location. I had never seen such a picturesque, picture-perfect area. Even the drive up there, despite it being mostly freeway driving, it was just gorgeous. And I realized why so many people live in Southern California, because I have never seen another place like that in this country. I do want to add a couple things that happened that night at Six Flags. So I bumped into somebody in the bathroom, and they were like, oh, hey, cutie. And I looked over, and I looked again, and it was Alaska from RuPaul's Drag Race with makeup on, but out of drag. And I was like, I can't believe my eyes right now. And I said hi, and it was just cool. It was so surreal to me. But that's just so normal for people who live in Southern California. They're so used to that after a while. But I was like, oh my gosh, guys, guess who I just met? So we kept walking away from the bathroom, and then we get to this stage, and no sooner than 5 minutes later, guess who gets on the stage? Alaska. And it was just it was like a full circle moment because I had my little small talk in the bathroom, and I remember watching Alaska on TV when I was in high school in Maryland. So I never thought that I would be in a bathroom, bumping shoulders with her. Overall, the entire night at Six Flags was really fun. We went on rides, and I think I met a couple people too, like mutual friends of theirs that they wanted to introduce me to, so that was cool. And after that, we ended up going back to their house, and then they wanted to take me out to West Hollywood, which I was like, yes, like I am so pumped for this. And mind you, I was a little bit tired because we had a pretty eventful day, but I was so ready to go out. The husband ended up dressing me again, and I was cool with that, whatever. I'm not going to see anybody I know, so it's like, if I look like a fool, then whatever. But I felt like I looked good anyway. So they ended up taking me out, and I think we went to, like, the Abbey and, like, all the really well-known West Hollywood bars. And it was a great time. It wasn't anything crazy or, like, new to me because I had been to bars before that. But I liked how energetic the crowd was, and it seemed like such a vibrant crowd. And it was just really cool to be around the LA crowd. I felt like, wow, maybe I could do this one day. So I ended up having a little bit too much to drink that night while we were out on the town. And I remember taking the Uber home and falling back asleep in my guest room. And then the next morning I woke up, and we were going to do a beach day the next morning. Me and the attractive husband, the one who I was attracted to, who reached out to me in the first place. He was very hungover, and I wasn't really that hungover, but he was like, you did the most last night, and this and that and the other. And I was just like, really? Because I remember, and I really wasn't doing the most. He was doing the most. And he was trying to, like, push it off on me to make me feel like it's your fault. And I didn't do anything. I remember telling them, guys, I'm ready to go. And they didn't want to go. And I was like, can I go alone? And they were like, no. So I think they felt like maybe I ruined their night a little bit. But it was really late. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was very late. It had to have been midnight, at least. So I asked my friend, I'm like, are we still going to the beach today? I would really like that. It was my last day, and I was going to be leaving later that afternoon. So long story short, after I fell asleep, they invited somebody from Grindr over and ended up hooking up in the next room over from me. And I was just in disbelief. I couldn't believe that this guy couldn't go 2 nights without hooking up with somebody other than his husband. And I was honestly disgusted. I didn't let him know that or, voice my opinions or anything, because he has the right to live the way that he wants to live. And I also felt very appreciative that he invited me into his home, despite the fact that he was probably trying to hook up with me because of that. I just felt really weirded out by the whole situation. The entire drive home, I was thinking about it, and I was just like, could I ever be okay with this? Could I ever see myself in a relationship like that, where I'm completely okay with my husband or whoever inviting somebody over to hook up with in the next bedroom, and then coming back up to bed with me afterwards? It was very weird to me, guys, and I know that that's probably more normal than I would think, but that was my first experience seeing that firsthand, and I just thought, this doesn't seem right. Something about this doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem good, and I didn't judge them, but I judged the situation that they are in. And I just thought, I would be heartbroken if I married somebody and devoted my life to somebody just for them to feel validated with themselves a couple times a week because I'm not making them feel validated in some way. I feel like when it gets to that point, then you need to talk about if you should still be in a marriage. I just don't understand the concept of open relationships. And more as I meet more and more people and more couples, it's so normal. Like, it's everywhere. And I've never seen it before this. But ever since I had that situation in LA, it's really opened my eyes up to the reality of what dating for men is like in the future. And it's not promising, in my opinion. I have probably met 1 or 2 couples that aren't in open relationships, are still in love with each other and get everything they need out of each other. And I think that is just something to be proud of. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm just not mature enough to fathom the idea of open relationships. Is that it, or am I just not that kind of person who can accept that? Because I was just very sad for the other husband. I felt like the other husband may feel like he has to do this to feel loved and to remain feeling loved. I had a conversation with him in his house and I was like, "Are you okay with this? Like, how do you guys do this? I don't think I could do this," just as I'm explaining to you guys. And he was like, "Oh, well, we've been married and, we love each other enough to know that we're not going to leave each other for the next guy or the next guy." And I'm just thinking in my head, like, you don't know that, actually. You really don't know that, because it happens all the time. And maybe I just think too far into things, but the concept of open relationships is very interesting to me, to say the least. Are you in an open relationship? Do you agree with open relationships? Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Also, leave your questions down below and I'll try to answer them. I'm getting a little bit out of breath because I've been blabbing on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.